Still agree.
All right, it's 7:03 and I would like to call to order the meeting of the Thompson Conservation Commission for Monday, October 21st, 2024. First order of business is the review of the September 16th, 2024 minutes. Do we have any comments? Do we need any corrections or anything, or yes? Are we still looking?
Still looking. I never looked them over at home, but
I looked them over before I came, but I wasn't in attendance, so I can't accept them. Could I have a list of the easements?
Yeah, I don't have one printed out here, but
No, I'll catch
sure.
that one.
You want a hard copy?
Yes, please,
Okay, yes,
if I could.
sure. If you stick around when this ends, I'll get it to you right then.
And could I have a copy of the letter that you sent out in regards to the other commissions?
We didn't send it yet. We got another version of it tonight.
Oh,
We're
okay.
having a little trouble. I think we might have the final version tonight. I got
Yeah, I think
it.
All right. Would someone like to make a motion to accept the minutes of September 16th, 2024 meeting?
I'll make this.
Right, all in favor of the motion on the table? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Motion carried. Financial matters.
Okay, um. July 1st through October 21st. We have, available budget of $23,804.17. We've used up 29%.
All righty, thank you. Correspondence.
We have a letter from Rainey that came in after the agenda was posted. And it's the one that's got the solar farm announcement on the cover.
All right, I see that we've got that.
State seal in the top left corner,
Yep.
October
Yep.
1st. Rainey's gonna speak during, well, whenever you want him to speak, I
Yeah,
guess.
well, we have it on the agenda under new business, and then we also have citizens' comments, so. All right. Was that it for correspondence?
There's that, and then there's the report from Jackie Wick, right, the Habitat. Yes,
Yeah.
it's got the, on this cover of it is, it says state of Connecticut, and there's a state seal up at the top left, that's the, and a note from Rainey at the bottom right.
So I'm just looking at the habitat, the 2024 annual Khaki Wick meeting is scheduled for Saturday, November 16th. If anyone is interested in attending.
We should, our membership in it has lapsed, and so when we get to my report, I mentioned that in there. Has anybody here gone to these before?
Yeah, periodically. I think Dan went to several of them. in His tenure. I know I used to go. Just about every year when I was the wetland agent. And members are allowed to go if they're interested. We do have money in the budget for workshops and things like that.
What's the date on that again?
November 16th, it's a Saturday. I think it's usually an all-day event. They have speakers and
Bristol.
exhibits.
Far away.
Well, that was last year.
Oh,
Right here it says
oh,
the date.
23rd.
November 16th, 2024 is their annual conference. It seems like they're really only putting out one of these a year now instead of more.
Yeah, this is spring 2024. So I don't
This is
know,
the last thing we got from them.
a little behind.
I think maybe they're just consolidating, like I think the
used to do
district
it.
also, the
Yeah.
district also consolidates now.
So it's just twice a year. All right. Okay, agent report, then I guess that's what we're up to.
So we have a draft letter in our packet. It's the first thing on my report. I don't know if you got a chance to take a peek at it.
Yeah, that's, under old business, so we can do that after your report.
Okay. The Blaine Road Rain Gardens, the beautiful sign was put up by the district and help people understand what their function is. I got a note on here about whether or not you want to buy a membership to Kakiwik. Apparently, on the last page of the habitat, there's a form, and if the wetlands and conservation buy at the same time, the two commissions each get it for $60. I don't know whether the commission interest in it or not.
Yeah, we've always maintained a membership and there should be money allocated in the budget.
Okay. Well, that sounds like, do you need to take a vote or anything?
Um. We do. What was it? It was $60.
60 if both commissions buy, I guess, more or less at the same time, and the chairman of the Wetlands Commission indicated that he wants to, so I think we can get it for that price.
Okay, so it would be 60 for us and 60 for, that's what it looks like, two commissions, yes, that's 120 altogether. Okay, would someone like to make a motion to spend $60 for Kakiwik membership?
I'll move that.
I'll second it. I didn't want to make all the first motions.
You'll be a motion hog. All right, any discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. You may go ahead and
Thank you.
spend $60 to renew our Kakiwik membership. All right, whoops, I lost. Sorry, was there anything else?
77 Pompeo Road. Solar farm proposal, I've reviewed almost all the attachments. And the first selectman has requested a hearing, which Rainey will get into when it's his turn to speak, and then just the budget update, I encumbered $9.99 for a 3-pack of acrylic sign holders for the office door. to do like if you notice, the building department has a really nice display on their door now, so I'm gonna emulate them and make it look spiffy.
Have to keep up with the
Think we can
Joneses.
support Spiffy. All right, okay. Anything else? Or are we
That's
ready to
it.
move on? All right, thank you. All right, next on the agenda is the Sustainable CT Resiliency Committee draft letter to other town commissions. So there was an updated draft on the table. Had a chance to read it. We did get a comment from a member of the public, just kind of indicating that after they had read it, it wasn't clear to them exactly what the purpose of our request was. So we redrafted the first paragraph a little bit just to make it more clear what the purpose of the resiliency subcommittee would be.
Yeah, we had, in the last version also, we had kind of interchangeably used the words sustainability and resiliency, and I think because it's all kind of modeled a little bit on sustainable CT in this draft, I'm calling it the Sustainability Committee, which can always be changed at anyone's whim. Bless you. Also, this version would be emailed, and I gave you an electronic signature if you're okay with that.
Just like
Dated November 1st.
yeah, I think that's a lot easier.
And then at the bottom, it asks them to email you and Tara by the end of November. Should give them time to all hold their November meetings.
Yeah, I think that should work okay. You know, it's a little tough now getting into the holidays and whatnot, but we're not in a big rush, so
You get 4 to 6 decent people.
yeah, it's a start, and then we can contact other departments and committees.
What's reliable materials management?
I had to Google that myself. I think maybe we better let Judy explain about materials management. Is that one of your,
Sorry, I'm just where
second to the last line in the first
Okay.
paragraph?
trying to get some
It's
context
about
here.
acquiring, using, storing,
Yeah.
and disposing of materials for the town, like, for example, sand
Exactly,
and salt come to mind, but anything, any materials we have to buy or
Yeah,
use,
anything
wood.
Oh, you're
that we
talking-
use, that we store, how we store it. Yeah.
For the, for
Yeah, for example,
Yeah.
the new salt barn ought to get us some points with sustainable
Oh,
CT.
definitely, yeah.
We got a basin over there that's just about complete.
Right.
Yes, stormwater basin.
I streamlined it a little bit too. I was trying to keep it all on one page, so.
Well, it's at the website in here, so if they wanna know what it
Yeah.
is, that's the whole ticket right there.
I had too much information.
See what's up with them. Or if
Mhm.
it's even started yet. I don't really
Sure.
understand about that.
what's that?
We have, this whole sustainable CT thing runs in 3-year cycles. And so I think they want you to try to get, what's their word for it? Certified within 3 years, and I'm not sure when our clock started ticking or if it
Mhm.
actually even has started ticking, but you know, Tira has quite a spreadsheet started on it. Guess we better find that out. I'll make that my mission to ask Tara.
So we choose our actions. And implement them and earn.
Well, you know,
points.
they have that long spreadsheet list, which I don't know if you folks ever saw.
Yeah.
They have a very extensive spreadsheet that lists all, there's 10 different categories. Including social stuff.
Yeah,
And then there's, with like within each of these, there's a number of
Okay,
actions.
all right.
yeah.
So a huge amount of what the town does would fall into one category, another.
And it seems like there's something for just about everybody, regardless, the school, the library, highway department, the various committees of the
sure,
town
yeah.
hall. yeah. Would anyone else want to take a look at that?
Yeah, the young ladies gave it during their
Yeah.
presentation.
They did a very good job. I was very impressed with them. 'Cause they both looked like they were about 12. Which
They-
is what
they
all the
really
doctors look
did.
like at my new job. It's like,
Oh my goodness, yes.
are you old enough to be in medical
I
school?
saw a doctor at the YMCA and I asked her, are you, I thought she was a candy striper and she said, I'm a medical doctor.
Yeah, like,
Just wait, you'll understand someday.
So what, we need action on this or what?
We were hoping that you would approve right, Judy? That's what we.
If we need a motion or if we just need
Because
consensus.
see, at first, Tara
think
wanted
that-
this commission to take on the role of being the sustainability or resiliency committee. And then after we sat down and talked about it, Judy brought up the idea of making a different committee with someone from all the other committees and because this commission really didn't seem ready to take it on.
Right.
And so
Right.
that's what
Yeah.
we're just basically informing you about this letter that Judy's intending to, we're gonna. Well, I'll email it out to everybody. I'm gonna put their own individual name and email address at the top and send them all out.
I think it can function as a subcommittee of this commission. Because you can, subcommittees don't need to be made up of just members of your own commission. They can be, citizens, members of other
And
boards.
the theory is to meet
So-
quarterly, so would they
Yeah.
would the meetings take place at these meetings or?
I,
separately?
we probably would schedule a separate time.
Okay,
Yeah.
based on when
That is
people are
mutually,
available.
Everyone.
consensus wise, I think the letter's fine.
The letter looks good to me.
I guess it's good to go then. Thank you, Margaret, and thank you,
Welcome.
everybody. For what was this, the third or fourth draft?
I'll have to mark that.
Practice makes perfect, right? All right, new business. The first item is 77 Pompeo Road, proposed solar farm under the jurisdiction of the Connecticut Siting Council and Connecticut Deep. Margaret, do you want to give us kind of a brief overview? You said you poured
Well,
over.
You know, if we were downstairs, we
proposal?
could use the big screen to show you the plans. Did
Yeah.
any of you go onto their website and look at any of the attachments?
I did
So
not.
Amy's got stuff on her, she can maybe turn this around so we can see.
on the show. I have the first six. Waiting for laptops to come with built-in projectors. I think that would be really cool.
A map, but this map isn't very clear.
This isn't a touch screen, right?
No, it's not.
And I.
Yeah.
I might make a boo-boo. I think the plan is actually in second six.
The second set?
Yeah, I think so.
Environmental consultation, no finding, no impact finding.
Maybe we better go up to the first one again. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Site
plans?
plans. So 77 Pompeo Road is about 164 acre feet of land, and Rainey and lots of other people live across the street from a field there. That's either mowed or in corn, and the neighbors were concerned. And there's a map of it in Rainey's letter that the solar farm was gonna be across the street from their houses, which is that. This is the big piece of land on Pompeo Road. This is. All these little houses are folks like Rainey and neighbors. So they thought it was gonna be here, but it turns out it's gonna be down here in a place that was wooded. It's about 16 acres, so it's about 10% of the whole parcel. And because I'll let Rainey get into what he feels about he did work hard to get Pompeo Road made into a designated a scenic road, so. These this is probably the most important image I think of. Yeah, that, and it doesn't all quite fit on
Yeah, it
one
doesn't
page,
all-
but Pompeo Road is over here on the left. And these are the arrays, the stripy looking things. This is the steep area that's sort of like a gully where they're just gonna stay out of it, kind of fold in the hill. There's a basin here, a couple of basins down here. I think there's a total of 4 basins. And that's where stormwater would collect. There's no water going under the road, either direction. Don't seem to be any culverts, or at least not shown on this plan. And there's going to be screening, vegetative screening, especially, I noticed in one of their attachments, they're going to extra lengths to screen the most across from, one of the owner's sisters lives across the road. And apparently, they showed a great big vegetative buffer across from our house. So there's also another house down at the bottom of it, which is where I guess Rainey grew up as a baby.
That's correct. Ironically, that's why.
They're down?
So is this right close to the road? Or is it
Yeah, well.
back a little bit?
You can see,
They're gonna leave wooded vegetated buffer. Because, they Connecticut Siting Council and DEEP come in and they promote these projects and they take all of our town ability to oversee it away. So the Planning and Zoning Commission isn't there to require the screening, but they seem to have taken into account a lot of stuff that the town would have done, and including the screening. So the only place there's not much screening is at where there's gonna be a road in, which is an existing cart path. And then there's going to be, sure how to make it go back up, where there's a basin near the road, and so I'm not sure. The whole thing is gonna be surrounded by a fence that's at least 6 feet high. And, one comment that I always liked when I oversaw the development of 15 of these when I was working in Spencer. I actually was out there watching them, building them and trying to prevent erosion. And one thing I learned was that if you had a 6-inch gap under the fence, it would make so wildlife small animals like turtles and such could get in and out. They don't seem to do that much in Connecticut, but in Mass, all the conservation commissions asked for that. Another thing is we would phase the projects. We learned that the very first one, we let them open up the whole site at once, and that was on prime farmland soil, although this is not. And it was in November that they started stripping everything, and it was one of those winters when we got heavy snow followed by a lot of rain, and a lot of that soil washed down the hill. So after that, we would make them phase the project, meaning open up, if it was like, maybe open up a quarter of it or a fifth of it, get that area built, stabilized, then at least temporarily stabilized, then let them open up another quarter of it, get that area built, stabilized, and then let them move on. I don't necessarily expect Siting Council to listen to that, but it's certainly a comment that it makes common sense. There's some kind of sea slopes here, which is 8 to
Connecticut
15%.
does require phasing. It escapes me at the moment I think, I want to say it's like 5 acres at a time or something like
There
that.
was a project in
And,
Sprague.
and it's
on-
the same deal that they have to clear it, build, stabilize, and then they can move to the next phase.
the- This happened to us when my last job in Brooklyn, that the siting council came in and built a really much bigger one on the Canterbury town line. And there was a public hearing. The town planner in Brooklyn wanted to go because she wanted to make sure they were protecting endangered species. And there are a couple vernal pools near this one, but there are no endangered species listed for this site. And there's a 750-foot shape around the vernal pools where the amphibians use the uplands. And some of this solar farm is in that 750-foot buffer, so to speak. But it'll only probably really be a problem for them during construction, and then the amphibians can come out and go under the panels, although I think the spotted salamanders would rather be in the woods. But I don't foresee this stopping the project because there's 2 vernal pools nearby. They're not doing any work in the vernal pools. And that's a good intro for
They
me.
would, I actually, when I worked for the Eastern Connecticut Conservation District, one of my responsibilities was to do the site inspections for solar facilities. And so I did the inspections for the one on the Brooklyn Canterbury line.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So, they won't
Very
build
good.
in an area where there's a vernal pool, and they will leave a small buffer, but.
That was 8-foot toad.
there was
The
8-foot
last
toads,
8-foot
yeah.
toad in the area was down there, and
Yeah.
the one in Sprague was built on like what they called a mountain. That was probably the last one they built without phasing that made them realize they had to, because it all
Yes.
washed down into the road. So this was wooded. The trees are coming down if they build it. And everyone's gonna have a chance to speak, hopefully, at a hearing which Amy has requested. And we're hoping it's held here at the library or town hall or somewhere. Written comments are required by the 30th of this month. So if you folks come up with comments tonight, I will put them in the letter and an email to them.
I'm sorry, what was the date?
30th of October.
And on the 24th of October, the siting council will meet to determine if they're going to comply with having a public hearing.
Oh, they'll decide before they get all the comments.
That's what they said in the last
Chances are
email
they
from them, that
will.
October 24th. Their meeting, their monthly meeting.
Oh, okay, so I guess the
in
having
3
the
days.
hearing doesn't hinge on the comment.
Yeah, because if they decide they're not gonna have the hearing, then the comments don't matter. If they decide they are, then the comments will.
Well, the comments still matter to them making their final decision in November.
Yeah,
I have to say this too. Lynn Landry told me, saw her this week. She popped in and she's
Sorry.
Lynn Landry stopped by this week. I think it was Monday morning. And I mentioned this and your involvement in this solar farm. And she said that she felt like this, she and Al felt that the siting council was helpful to them when they were working on that changing the power lines at their property, because they listened to her and asked, and they moved one of the big poles across the road at her request. So she felt that they did listen to her, and I said, I will let Rainey know that, because you worked with Lynn for so long, and I mean, you could talk to her about it if you want to. So that was good to hear. I worked on that project too. Or looking at the vernal pools, that was a long time ago.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Rainey, please. You would like to share your information with us?
I've got You have time?
A whole stack.
Hold on, say. Come here tonight. Citizen. Tax collector. Current capacity. Veterans office. Clear. citizens. Having said that, I am extremely concerned, extremely disappointed. Town of Thompson. This point, this seems. A year and a half ago, there were some rumors out there of a potential solar. That's the last thing that. So I got together with my 76 residents, 76 homeowners on Pompeo Road. The idea, because it had been suggested to me that solar arrays would never be built on the scenic road. So gathered in force, put about 2-3 months worth of effort into that process, into a lot of the commissions. The long and the short of it is that at a public hearing, in the community room, filled to the brim, with citizens. We made what I thought was a very compelling proposal to have Pompeo Road listed as a scenic road in Thompson. And the Planning and Zoning Commission that evening voted overwhelmingly. I don't think it was quite unanimous, but voted overwhelmingly to approve that designation. We did that with the sole purpose of wanting to keep a potential solar field up for a lot of reasons. And we wanted, most of us on Pompeo Road have been there for a long time. I've been there 42 years, and I was there for 21 years in that home before I got married. So I lived most of my life on Pompeo Road. A number of my other neighbors and residents of Pompeo Road are long-standing residents of Pompeo Road. We live there because it's a spectacularly beautiful rural road. We want it to stay that way. 2 weeks ago, Amy received a letter that I believe I posted the communication that I sent to you, and I didn't send that just to you. About 150 people on all the commissions in Thompson and all the from Attorney General Bill Tom to Joe Courtney to our state legislators, our state representatives, board of selectmen, the executive director of the Last Green Valley, the executive director of the Land Trust. So I've made a lot of people at least initially aware of this in a very tight time frame, because we only found out about this a little more than a week ago. And I'm hearing, I'm hearing tonight, well, we were told in that letter that we could submit objections until the 30th. They're gonna meet on the 24th.
But now to decide, not to determine on the project, to determine whether or not they're gonna allow the public hearing.
But the letter clearly stated for us to if there was any objection, to let them know by October 30th. So that they would decide at their next meeting, their November meeting, whether it was going to move forward.
And that hasn't changed, Rainey. If they have a public hearing, that could potentially extend the time for them
But
making
on
the decision on the
24th, from what I
project.
understand, they may decide not to have a public hearing, and then it's done.
Well, then they'll still be taking public comment. That's the way I understand it.
But if there's not gonna be a public hearing, why would they give 2 hoots about what the citizens of Thompson?
Well,
I
Let's
wanna-
hope that they're gonna,
that's the
be in there
least,
for a minute.
that's the least important thing that we're gonna talk about.
Right.
tonight. That 1 week less time. than we realize. They go back and tell you that this entire document here is stuff that was downloaded about our proposal here in Thompson first selectman and a couple other people in the town hall received. Thought to myself, that's a lot of work for just, when the hell did this process start? So I researched it. This process started on April 21st, 2021. 3.5 years ago. I can't believe for 1 minute that in 3.5 years, there aren't some people in this town hall and other people associated with this project who didn't know about it or didn't see this coming. So I think that disappoints me. It took 3.5 years for the siting council to put their program together, do all their testing, all their, whatever it is that they do, and then sent a letter out to 6 of the 76 people who live on Pompeo Road. 6 of the 76 people who live on Pompeo Road, and told them that if they object, they need to object by October 30th, maybe it's the 24th. Now, town has an ordinance that says any abutter of any change to the land needs to be notified if you're within 200 feet. There are a whole bunch of people that Meg showed you along my stretch of road that are less than 30 feet from that property. None of us got noticed. That's why I hurried up and got a quick notice to everybody and indicated they had until October 30th to send their objection or their request to have a public hearing at a later date. I'm not sure what this 24th is about, but nonetheless. So they took 3.5 years. They're giving the residents who are going to be most impacted by this about 3 weeks, it seems like now, to object. I'll ask all of you in this room, if any of you would like to be sitting right where you're sitting right now, look out your picture window and see a solar farm there for the rest of your life, for the rest of the time that you're going to live on Pompeo Road, which is a scenic, beautiful, bucolic road. I can't believe that this town doesn't robustly go after this and file objections to this. And having said that, I understand fully how the siting council work. I've done an awful lot of work in the last 2.5 years. Know that the siting council is a group of politically appointed people who sit on the siting council who make a lot of money, $200,000 a year. So they're not going to buck the system. The siting council started in the late 70s, early 80s, and it was established because no town, none of the 169 towns in the state of Connecticut, for the most part, I think all of them, none of them would want a solar field, tower, windmill on their street or in their near their backyard, or something that they would hear or smell or take away from their property. So the legislative system, in their infinite wisdom, established a siting council that supersedes, that trumps over any local ordinance. How unconstitutional is that? And they did that because when some of the proposals were coming up around the state, towns were saying, no, we don't want this in our backyard, and rightfully so. So they said, the government said, how are we going to get around this? So they said, let's have a siting council that ignores local regulations. We trump anything. Doesn't matter if you have the best reasons in the world. So I understand that we're up against it. I understand that 97% of the siting council proposals have passed since it has been established. I understand that the only one that anyone could reference that was rejected happened to be in the hometown of U.S. Senator Christopher Murphy. Interesting. So, having said that, I was when I got it, I immediately became concerned. Talked to Amy, and she very quickly, same day, sent a letter to the siting council asking for a hearing. They don't have to grant the hearing if they don't want to. They don't have to do anything. They're collecting their big checks and they're making sure that they don't make any waves with government so they don't lose those nice jobs. And they don't care about the 120 homes that are within a quarter of a mile of where this location that was pointed out by Meg. 120 homes are within a quarter of a mile, either on Pompeo Road, the scenic road, or in that surrounding area, including the way the crow flies within a quarter of a mile from our school system over here. You draw a line, suddenly part of that, for the school system, they're inside of a quarter of a mile. I think there is so many reasons that this commission, the Board of Selectmen, Planning and Zoning, Inland Wetland, everybody in this town should be greatly concerned and greatly disturbed about this. I'm blown away that I haven't heard anything. And part of it is I can read their psyche. They take 3.5 years. They give you 3 weeks to object, and then they can do anything they want anyway. So they didn't really want anybody in the Thompson knowing that this was going on behind the scenes. So they put you in a box. I have many irate people who live on Pompeo Road right now and the surrounding area on Buckley Hill. Matter of fact, I disagree with the fact that it's not going to cross any roads, the water, Meg, because it's going to cross Buckley Hill right down into the back of the school system. Having said that, that's not my area of expertise. There are real issues here and real reasons why this town we should have a town attorney involved in this for one thing, immediately. Should have had it 2 weeks ago. And we should, every commission, and part of the problem is most of you didn't know about it until tonight, because again, they didn't give you any time. The Inland Wetland Group that met last week only got the notice the day before, haven't even know they had it at the time. So they give you no time to react, and they hold all the aces in the deck. So, you know, my frustration is shown here a little bit, but when I talked to Meg last week, she suggested that I come to your meeting tonight and voice my concerns about our very, very concerned taxpayers and residents of Pompeo Road. The assessor tells me that those homes that are within sight, a lot of our homes, I know Meg said there were only a couple, but from where it is, everybody who lives on Pompeo Road is going to see that field, that solar field, every day they go up and down Buckley Hill. It's very close to the road. Right now, there's still 70%, 80% of the leaves on the trees, and you can see where it's going to be from Pompeo Road. We're going to lose 40 to 50 to 60% of the value of our homes immediately, if this is put there. There are so many other places, and I don't want to name places where solar fields could be established, where they, like the Ballard Farm, the one that we have in town, that was established where you can't see it from any road, you can't see it from any home. It's almost like it's not there. So there wasn't a whole lot of objection. Here, it's in the middle of a neighborhood with 130 or so homes within the quarter of a mile. We're going to hear it. We're going to smell it. We're going to be, because people are already concerned about their well water. Heard it 2 times today from 2 of my neighbors on Pompeo Road. I had somebody last week saying they're putting the house up for sale immediately, because once the word gets out, realtors have to disclose to a potential buyer that there's a solar field coming on Pompeo Road. People are lose $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 of the value of their property the day that this proposal is voted on by the siting council, who can give 2 shits less about the residents of northeastern Connecticut. They don't even know where we are. They don't even know where we are. And I think it's up to us. I think the Conservation Commission, maybe by definition, I'm wrong, but I think it's to conserve land and the beauty and our brooks and our streams and our air and our quality of life. I think that's what you guys are all about. So I would expect and I would hope, that's why I'm here, I'm hoping that you guys put together a program and a letter with Meg's help, assistance, if you want, all want it individually. I know a lot of people already have sent in their request for a public hearing, so we can talk about some of this stuff at a public hearing. But I don't think they're gonna give us a public hearing. They don't care about northeastern Connecticut. So be happy to answer any question that anybody, you should all be, this could be all in your backyard. And and we, the one area that I think that we could fight this, if it's not, because we don't have a US senator or a US congressman living in our town. The one, lost my train, the one area that I think we can make a reasonably effective fight on is that this is on a scenic road. Best research, and I've got some really smart people working out there for me right now. 3 attorneys and people who are much smarter than any attorney have told me that there's not one solar field in the state of Connecticut that's on a scenic road, and not one solar field in the state of Connecticut that is on a state highway, i.e. 161 or 171. They keep it away from there, but you know, you can do it in northeastern Connecticut. They're the quiet corner, you know, they're backwards people. They're not gonna care about this. So I'm speaking not only for myself tonight, but for all of the residents on Pompeo Road, on Buckley Hill, on Rosset Avenue, on Valley Road, on Valley View Road, members of the Valley Spring Sportsman Club who abut that property, and they're concerned about wildlife, about fishing, about water, about losing gaming. And I know it was said that there's not a lot of gaming, but there is. We see the deer out there 80% of the days, a year round. There are deer and turkey and all kinds of wildlife in those fields back there. I think as a community, we should preserve this. Now, sitting here right now, I'll bet you a year's salary that there were people in this town hall who have known about this for 3 years. No, and as often as I've asked, up until about a month ago, because about every month I ask 4 or 5 key people, you heard anything? Have you heard anything? No, nobody's heard anything. All of a sudden, 3.5 year plan. And it's in these documents here. Happy to send it to you. I think maybe Meg has already sent you all of those documents. If not, you really should have a copy of all of those maps, all of what they talk about, the infrastructure that they're gonna need, the new electrical lines, the Eversource help. The construction is gonna take 1.5 years. They're gonna have a staging area right across the street from our homes. The dust, the noise. I ask you to consider this very, very seriously on our behalf. And I could talk about this all night, but I've been talking about it all day and all night with lots of people.
Thank
I
you,
believe there
Jane.
are people in this building and then on some of our commissions who want this to happen. And I don't know why. It's not gonna bring any tax revenue. The ballot property doesn't bring any tax revenue to Thompson. The difference here is it's not gonna bring any tax revenue, and the town is, I did a rough calculation, just under $200,000 of lost revenue, tax revenue to the town of Thompson, because the assessor, not me, the assessor tells me that property values are anywhere between 40 to 60%, depending on where you are in relationship to that little diagram. If you take a conservative 30% loss, you're about a $200,000 loss to the town. And nothing to gain from it, but we become a laughing stock.
Okay, thank you, Rainey.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Rennie.
Thank you. For anyone who's interested in going to the Connecticut Siting Council and looking up all the documentation that Rainey has in his lab. All you need to do, you go to the Connecticut Siting Council website and just look for the petition number, which is right in the, at the top of the letter that's on the top of the stack. So look up petition number 1643.
Judy, I think there's a link that, Next
I
sent
sent
me.
all
You
the.
sent the
Sent
link?
to all of
Okay.
you, it's so easy.
All-
Click
both
on two clicks and
Okay,
You got it all.
all right, yeah. So, yeah, everything will be there. So I don't know if anybody has any specific thoughts. I did wonder, because it is a scenic road, I looked up the town ordinance for scenic roads. It talks a little bit more about what qualifies a town, what qualifies a road as a scenic road. But I also looked up the state regulations. The town ordinance basically uses pretty much the same language as the state regulation.
It should,
But-
because we made sure. we had the
Yeah,
right language.
Yeah, but the thing that stands out to me is, I'm just reading from the state regulation here, is that it's talking about standards and procedures used to determine which highways or portions of highways, when they say highway, they mean road, shall be designated as a scenic road. And one of the criteria is that the highway or portion of highway must be free of intensive commercial development.
This is a major commercial development. What you're seeing
So-
here, I suspect is phase one. I even more suspect that there's at least one, if not two other phases coming after this that are gonna encompass that whole field that Meg was showing you. That is right in front of about 18 beautiful homes, bring a lot of tax revenue. Stuff.
Yeah.
People who have lived there their whole lives.
The rest of the language talks more about the road itself and maintaining the road as a scenic road. It doesn't really talk about how the land is used. Other than saying that one of the criteria also is that it offers scenic views. So,
You know, I was like,
scenic views. I don't think a solar facility is a
It's
scenic view.
scenic.
There's only two
So-
scenic roads in Thompson, by the way, in case you're wondering about that. I say that quickly, but Lowell Davis Road was designated a scenic road about 3 or 4 years ago. And that's where I got the idea to do Buckley Hill. I believe, do Pompey Road. I believe that there may be, back in the 70s, when they were officially called scenic road, two dirt roads, I believe, Elm Road and
Yeah, we're not sure if we're paid. Well, you wouldn't know that looking at it.
No,
I can't remember the other one. Short Road, but that's it. You got over 200 roads in town, and essentially two scenic roads. So there's plenty of places. The owners of this property, are ruthless. They don't care about their neighbors. They never have. Those people have never been involved in anything in the community. They accept getting money from their jobs working in the school system. They've never given back to the community. I don't even think they vote in this community. They don't shop in this community. The gentleman, Jeff, has told me many, many times, I have no use for Thompson. He's been telling me that for 40 years.
Well, I would have to be in agreement that if this is a conservation commission and what we're supposed to do is conserve. And it's a scenic road and has been designated as such. We should at least. As a council, I would say that we should make a public protest of this. I don't like government overreach where they say it doesn't matter what you do, you can do what we want. I've never liked that. That's the whole thing that went on down in, with the, taking property by public domain when they were perfectly good houses, so that they could give it to a private entity to build a shopping center. that it's just wrong. Um. I get torn because I also believe that property owners should be allowed to do what they want to do with their property. But property owners that are living on a scenic road have sacrificed some of that in doing so. I mean, my wife has always lived here, but I moved here. I live next to a racetrack. I don't complain, well, I complain, but I don't complain to get anything changed because I came here. Racetrack was here when I got here. So it's the same kind of thing. And yeah, you're gonna lose the value of the property. And everybody on that road is gonna lose the value of the property. Nobody's gonna wanna move in there, you know, it's. So I agree with everything that you said. And I think that as a commission, because it is a scenic road and has been designated as such, we should take an official stand, my opinion.
I think if you have time to review the documents, which it sounds like you don't, they make it sound like it's really going to be screened from the road, according to them. So that it's not like it's gonna be, you know, plainly in sight, like right across from Rainey's with no shrubs around it. You know, apparently they're going to screen it according to the plans that I've seen, and there's a diagram in there that shows that. So, yeah, and the other thing is that as a conservation commission, one thing that kind of makes me feel ambivalent about it is that everyone seems to recognize that we need to get off of fossil fuels, but there's this terrible cost benefit conflict where we have to cut down trees in order to put up a solar farm and lose wildlife habitat. And so it's a, you know,
But the scenic road thing specifically says no commercial development, and this would be commercial development,
intensive commercial development.
and that's what this would be. And what are they putting up for, you know, showing an aerial view of this will have a screen. What kind of screen? How tall? How much is that going to block?
What would help the project a lot is if they took away the basin that's right next to the road and moved it away from the road and made that have more of a vegetative buffer there, because it's really only the site entrance and that basin that aren't, you know, this basin is close to the road and then the driveway into the site. But aside from that, there's.
Anytime you drive up or
And
down that road, you will see that field as clearly as I'm seeing.
And the thing is that maybe what Rainey's saying is true about the leaves on the trees and such, but if they, you know, the Planning and Zoning Commission would require planting of stuff that would grow only high enough to basically block your, you know, densely block your visuals. And it's possible that it could be screened if they wanted to, you know, if enough loud protests came saying that we need, if the project's gonna go through, that we need dense vegetative screening. I think it could be, I think it could be accomplished. I'm just knowing, I guess my view of it is I've been through this before and it's not, I've been through 2 fights in my neighborhood and it is like a war. It's very painful. I happen to win both fights, but at great cost. And I don't know if Rainey can win this one. And so what I'm trying to say is that you can protest as much as you want to, and in the meantime, if there's any chance that it's still gonna be built, I think it's important to say that it needs to be, you know, completely screened off. If it's gonna be built and you can't stop it, demand dense vegetative screening or some other visual barrier.
No reason to not take both routes, so.
Anyone here
Yeah.
concerned about the fact that that is that's a quarter of a mile school system up here? I am. We should all be concerned about that.
What is I don't understand what the danger would be to the school system. It's not polluting, it's not.
We don't know that.
You know,
The
certainly not-
recommendations that I saw. Throw it in here. would indicate that solar fields should be at least, I think it's 1.25 miles. from a school system.
Well, and if that's fact, then that needs to be, the siting council shouldn't be allowed to override that.
Who are you talking about saying it has to be a mile and a quarter from a school?
I'm sorry,
Who are you citing that said it has to be a mile and a quarter from a school?
sure the documents.
You know, having worked with this industry for several years now, and Judy's worked with it too, just to let you know what. See, this is the thing, when you go to the Connecticut Siting Council, it's not gonna be give and take. They're not gonna sit there and you're gonna say the house is black and they're gonna say, no, the house is red. It's none of that. It's all just you getting up to say what you wanna say, and they're not gonna sit there and respond to you.
No.
But having been through this, I've listened to many neighborhoods go through the same painful thing. They built a giant solar farm up at the Abbey in Spencer on top of what used to look like the Sound of Music. It doesn't look like that anymore, mainly because of the poles that the infrastructure has to come along with it. And there hasn't been any proof offered that I've seen watching these poor people go through the agony that Rainey's going through now, that they pollute the water or that they make a smell. There just isn't any proof that solar panels pollute groundwater. It shouldn't, once it gets constructed, if it gets constructed and the basins are functioning, and the site is stable, it shouldn't affect groundwater at all. I don't know how it's gonna be mounted. I wasn't able to quite figure out if it's gonna be on screws or if it's gonna, there's a lot of ledge there. Shallow to bedrock, so there are ways to mount panels on, I guess I haven't had time to really go through it with a fine tooth comb, but we could look for that information in there.
I haven't looked at it yet, but I will. I mean, I would be happy to draft a letter, citing the fact that it's a scenic road and we don't think that, this is, trying to think of the words I want to use, compatible, with that designation.
Yeah, and cite the state regulation.
Yeah.
As well as the
I
town
can draft
ordinance.
something up and send it to you, Margaret.
Okay,
I'm not a NIMBY person, but looking at if this weren't a scenic road and this and this and this, I'd be going, private property owner has private property rights. But there are regulations about scenic roads. And this appears to be in violation of that. Now, I'm not a lawyer. But I played one on a play once. And you said you've already got lawyers involved or are in consultation with them. To me, it's, if it weren't for that designation, I'd be going, yeah, and I agree with all your other problems of only this many people were notified when this many should have been notified. It seems like a whole bunch of steps have been.
it sounds like they only
Yeah.
notified the ones who were within X number
Well,
of feet of
that's what
the
I'm
portion of the
wondering, yeah.
property where the development's gonna
Right.
be.
Because the town has, a standard 200 feet. The siting council may have a different standard and they would comply with obviously their own rules, not
Most
the local
people-
rules.
Affected are within
Yeah,
50 feet, 30 feet
Close, yeah.
of that property.
yeah.
They notified people who were half a mile away.
Interesting.
I don't know. Yeah, it is
Yeah.
interesting. I'm sure there was a lot of thought into which properties were given to the siting council to be notified.
Well,
and
if-
which not.
If the siting council has, language that says all abutters or all homeowners, within a certain radius must be notified, then I guess it's the developer, right, would have to comply with that.
Someone's in the waiting room here.
Oh,
Because that doesn't change anything, Judy. Because everyone's been
Yes.
notified now, because I
Right.
took it upon myself to make sure.
Oh, nice. Oh, look at that. Thank you.
Oh, on Zoom?
Yeah.
Um. Yeah, and I'd also be curious on the supposed regulation on how far it has to be from a school. Because if it's in violation of that, that would also be a law,
And homes.
yeah.
130 homes.
I'm not familiar with that.
But not knowing the
Particular-
regulation, I don't,
Yeah,
Yeah,
is it, and is it a
it's serious
regulation or is it a recommendation?
Because the ones I
That's
oversaw,
what
they were right
practices.
smack dab behind a whole lot of houses. And there were people's houses less than a quarter mile from the one that Judy and I knew about in the Brooklyn Canterbury. That might be sort of a matter of opinion of what people would recommend about it. I mean, they put solar panels all on top of the school in Pomfret, so. What's different about ground mounted and roof mounted?
people have them on their houses. And
Yeah,
people, I can certainly put them in my yard. Like people coming every couple of weeks to say. Yeah,
Don't get me wrong, I don't think any of us object to that.
yeah,
Homeowners putting them on their homes, et cetera, et cetera. We're talking about it
massive,
just under the maximum limit of 3 MW, 2.95
Yeah.
megawatt solar field. That is a substantially large solar field that will devastate big part of our community forever. Forever.
well, it has a decommissioning, there's a decommissioning plan in here that says how they take it apart when they're
And
done with
everybody's
it.
told me that the decommissioning plan, you can exit out right now because every solar company is out of business long before the 20-year period is up. And those things will sit there forever unless the town decides to spend
Well,
hundreds and millions of dollars taking them down themselves.
the siting council wasn't involved with the ones I oversaw in Spencer, and we did require massive bonds. The town required massive bonds to decommission, huge bonds. So this is the darn thing when the siting council comes in, they have this relationship, that they, with, the utility, and they changed the name of the DEP to the DEEP and put energy in with the environment, where it does not belong.
right,
And
because you're in conflict.
it seems like a conflict to have the siting council pushing through energy projects, which is what it amounts to. To me, it's a utility.
Mhm.
I don't know if I think of it as a commercial, I guess it's commercial because the electricity is sold, but
Right,
it's a utility is what it is. It belongs in an industrial park.
yeah, I think every commercial building in every community should have solar panels on the roof, because they've already taken the land. They should all have solar panels on the roof. Walmart should have solar panels on its roof.
YMCA
Stop and
does.
Shop should have solar
Yeah.
panels on its roof. That should all happen before we chop down forests and put in solar panels.
Did you see, has anybody been by this area in question? The
I-
devastation that took place there over the last year. 40, 50, 60, 70 acres of trees just leveled and left there. It is they pulled some of the logging out. It's devastated land. I couldn't believe, none of us on the street could believe what we were seeing all last spring and summer long. What they did is, it borders on criminal. But again, the owners of the property don't give to us.
Yeah.
Never did,
And
and that goes 3 generations back.
decommissioning things, I've seen it fail so many times, even when there's bonds, gravel operations that are supposed to reclaim the land and the land never gets reclaimed. We did a timber operation on our property that was supposed to be cleaned up 3 years ago. They've still got equipment in there. Hasn't cleaned it all up yet. It's, we had a problem where we had a gravel operation and it was all supposed to be reclaimed, loam put down and hay put in. Well, the hay got put in, but it was a drought year. So, you know, reclamation doesn't happen. They don't care.
Well,
Corporations are, I need my money now,
It
and I'll
can't
make you whatever promise you got later.
it can happen, but I agree with you that people drop the ball on it.
Well,
If it's done right, it can
if
happen.
Spencer has that bond, when will this be decommissioned?
The ones up there, they were talking 30 years.
Yeah, and,
Yeah, I think that's about right.
and will that bond cover inflation over 30 years?
I
I don't know if
can't
it collects
remember.
interest. I'm not sure.
I
Because,
think it does. The
I mean,
town, in
also
Massachusetts.
has
they're
a slightly
required-
different
they're
process. so,
required to, put bonds into collecting interest up there.
So
That
you're gonna
makes
put
sense,
together
yeah.
a letter?
Yeah, so I'll put together a letter and I will, I'll do that tomorrow and I'll share it out with everybody and feel free to edit.
Thank you for
And-
doing that. Thank you, Meg, for inviting me to the meeting tonight.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you for
Share that.
joining us
thank you.
and sharing your concerns.
Listen,
Yeah.
I just asked that you're gonna send that letter, that it be before apparently the 24th. Well, I guess you would send it electronically, right?
It's 21st.
Today's the 21st.
Well, they need to receive it by the 30th at the latest. Yeah. So we'll have to turn it around quickly.
On the public hearing meeting.
Yeah.
Just on the public hearing, that's it. The comment period is still open until the 30th. They haven't taken that away. I mean, it would be great to get a letter in before the 24th. For sure.
Let's see, what's that? 3 days from today is Thursday? If you don't mind us putting the letter together by Thursday,
Yeah, I'll do my best. Yeah, that's Thursday.
So this was the letter they sent back to you, Rainey, where they said that the siting council meets via Zoom on Thursday, October 24th at 1 PM.
When did they send that to me?
This afternoon?
Oh, I was not seeing.
Okay. Let's see. 1:58 PM.
So what does it say?
It just acknowledges receipt of your request for the public hearing. And, it's sent to you and Lynn, and then it gives the, agenda for that day's meeting.
do the CC tell the people here that I was on the list?
Oh, sorry.
I was on the list of people that it got
Yeah.
sent to, so I think it was me, Tara, Amy, you.
Suzanne, Kim, something.
So let me just ask, I'm having a hard time with this. So upon the 24th, they decide they're not gonna have a public hearing. So does that mean that they're not gonna give citizens of this community an opportunity to talk about it? Like, I've got the opportunity to talk to you guys about it tonight.
You can still submit written comments by October 30th.
That's the way I interpret it.
I would try to think positive and because Amy asked for a hearing, I expect there to be a hearing, honestly, so don't leap to conclusions. I expect there to be a hearing.
You do expect it.
Yes.
I do too.
Well, it would be the right thing to do. But sounds like they're
Yeah,
not.
you know,
doing the right thing.
Lynn got them to listen to her and change the plan, so don't give
This is a
up.
whole- This is a whole different. This is something that affected my family.
Well, no, that particular energy project ran from the Rhode Island state line up by Coach's Corner down through Brooklyn, and it affected an awful lot of people. It was miles and miles long. So maybe affected more people than this. All you can do is try to think positive, and we'll put together a letter, and if you really feel strongly that you want it to go out before the 24th, we will send it out Thursday. What time do they meet?
1 o'clock.
Thursday at 1? Yeah,
But they've been extremely responsive.
Yeah.
Every time someone sends a letter to them, they get back to us and acknowledge it. At least, yeah. That's what I've seen.
I'm not, does it say, is it written in stone that they're gonna decide on the 24th whether there's a hearing?
Well, it's on the agenda.
Okay.
So.
Sometimes things get tabled. But maybe they're, you know, wanna hurry up and schedule a hearing, so everybody here will recognize that there will be a hearing, so.
Mm.
I'm not aware of a situation where they said no hearing, so. Hope there is one.
You're
You're
welcome.
welcome, thank you.
Great, the next item on the agenda is the 2025 draft meeting schedule. Everyone got a copy of that? I believe that all the dates are okay. We did have two holidays, Monday holidays, that conflicted with our regularly scheduled meetings, so the meetings will take place the next day. So Monday, it'll be Tuesday. I don't believe there's any conflicts with any other meetings.
I have a question
Yes.
regarding Juneteenth. Do we actually recognize the 19th, or do we take a Monday near Juneteenth? The 19th
Oh, good
Usually the
question.
19th, what is the fall, 19th fall on a
falls
Monday?
on a Thursday.
Oh,
I just wanted to
yeah,
make
no,
sure
we
of
do
that.
the actual
because some-
holiday.
Okay, I just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure of that. That's why I
Yeah.
asked the question.
Yeah.
That's so close to the,
If it was a Saturday,
It would
according
move
to
to the
Union, would be
Monday.
Friday,
yeah,
and if it was a Sunday, it would move to Monday.
right.
Looks like we're clear.
Okay, that was my only question.
Yeah. All right, I think we do need a motion for this, so if someone would like to make a motion to accept the meeting schedule for 2025 as presented.
I so move.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Thank you, and thank you, Gloria,
Uh,
for your work on that.
Yes, indeed, thank you. All right, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, all right, we have our schedule for next year. All righty, next item, citizens' comments. Rainey, you want to make one more comment?
You want me to go over that?
Anything you forgot? Anything else you'd like to bring up? How was Community Day? Well,
Guys, have
we
any-
thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Then there's the announcement, or we're at the members forum now.
Yeah,
Members
members
forum,
forum.
do we have anybody have anything that they want to share?
I was here for the discussion of the taking care of the gardens or the beauty of the gardens that we have planted around here, which I see someone is finally taking some down. And I think I read in the minutes that there was a some of the cost of the plants that would be put in. I was wondering if they couldn't ask for donations. Some of the people, as they clean their gardens, have extra annual perennials that they would share. And if we put out and ask for some donations for some of the gardens, whichever ones, would that work or not?
What is the plan for those or
Grass.
just grass?
Made some adjustments in areas, and notably by the sidewalk project where they had done a pretty landscaping. Well, for 3 years now, it's just grown weeds and it's looked terrible in the summer. So, Public Works dug up the perennials that were there and they moved them to closer to Town Hall. Public Works is going to be cleaning up some of the overgrown shrubs in front of Town Hall and just cleaning everything up and making it look nice.
Good.
But where the planted gardens used to be, they have planted grass. Just, again, just so that it's more manageable.
Yeah, what about the end of Blaine Road and other?
That hasn't been determined yet, but we'll figure something
I
out
hope
in the
that's
next
the
budget
next one,
season.
'cause
That was
Okay.
my
But
plan.
anyway,
It's dry
but
now.
I was wondering if
Right.
you needed plants, there might be people that would be
Great
do-
idea.
donating, which I think if that maybe we should have a discussion
Yeah.
on it later.
Bottom line is still we need to figure out who's gonna maintain it.
I understand
So-
that, yes,
It's
definitely.
gotta be a package deal.
I've also learned that when you, whether the plants are donated or whether they're bought, sometimes they come with terrible weeds in the potting soil. I bought perennials that brought in something called wire stem muley. And it's a terrible weed that's very, very hard to get out. And if I donated plants to, to you, you would get both ground ivy and quackgrass,
Okay,
which is in my soil, and those are incredibly difficult to control. So,
okay.
you know, whether you buy them or they're free, some plants can come along with hitchhikers that are unwanted.
Oh, yeah, I'm infested with those Asian jumping worms, so I don't give plants
Oh,
to
they're
anybody.
everywhere.
Okay.
Snake worms, Al calls them.
Yeah.
My other question was, let's see by the minutes that you were going to check on MS4. Do you
Oh,
have any
I've read
update,
part of it.
any update on that or?
I've gotten up probably halfway through it, and I got some questions about it that I haven't finished it yet. There, one of the pictures in there is hard to read. It shows all the outfalls, and I gotta ask Joe if there's a better image of where the way my brain works when I see an image like that, and I'm curious about protecting water. I'd like to see it on a big picture. Right now, putting the town on a piece of paper this big and seeing all these little specks where outfalls are, I can't really make out the reality of it. So I'm still plowing through it with
Mhm.
what it
Okay,
amounts
I don't
to.
mean to put you on the
No,
spot.
no, it's okay. It's, I thought about taking it home with me to help me go to sleep at night. Then I have started looking at maps for, today I started looking at the Shield subdivision to check conservation easement, so I'm finally in that phase, and I can see it's
Great.
gonna be a learning process for me. I actually flagged the wetlands on that subdivision at 622 Fabian Road, so I'm familiar with the land and, but finding the easement will be a different,
Yeah, hopefully it's still
Yeah.
marked.
hunting down the plans. A lot of the subdivisions are old. I was surprised at how few of them are recent. Even the Mossy, like the one I thought of as being recent is, what's their name, Cleary?
Yes,
Yeah, that's old. That's an old subdivision that Mossy did, which I didn't realize.
Yeah, I don't know the last time we accepted a conservation easement. Probably been a while. But we've been
Right.
pushing fee in lieu of. Last few years hasn't really even been much.
Well, Brooklyn's got a lot of subdivisions going on.
Starting up now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was pretty quiet for a few years, so. When is the MS4 report due to DEP, do you remember?
I want to say March, but it's
Oh,
on the
so there's plenty of
website.
time.
Amy knows where to look. Sure it is. That's where I got it. Janet's report. Just type in MS4 report. That's what I
I
did.
was just thinking how much time we had to review it, because I'd like to look at it too. but-
Annual report and transmittal for 2023, and Dennis sent that to me in April of this past year, on April 19th. So,
What interested me is that I found out from Daniel this week that they actually bought some lab equipment to test the water themselves. which I
that
didn't-
what?
J&D actually bought lab equipment to test the water themselves, which I didn't know.
Oh,
I'm not sure what parameters they were testing
Yeah.
for, but
No.
I still keep sharing that,
Surfactants,
the water,
nitrogen,
the
phosphorus.
French River watershed based plan, I keep sending it to everybody. I'm just,
So great.
I think it's the most amazing document. I'm floored by the statistics and the science behind it. Really makes me admire the way Judy thinks, because we have different backgrounds and her brain works in a completely different way than, and I'm envious.
I'm having a good day. Thank you.
Make a good pair.
A different worldview.
Answer to the question, I would say it's probably April.
Okay.
That's when the report was signed.
I'll need time to review it then. I was thinking it was like December or something.
Yeah, you know,
It covers the calendar year though.
I don't expect much to change in the MS4 report from year to year.
Really, no, just any updates on anything new you've done. We've done, as a town.
Right, like, and the updates
one
can
more
go into the
Okay.
sustainability thing, with all the basins being built and.
My last question is, I heard the tail end of Winnie last week, and they were talking about a piece of property that the Wyndham Land Trust has been preserved, and they stated how it was connected into Rhode Island and how important it was. I wanted to know more about it. So like,
It's the 300 acres from Quadic up to the Boy Scout camp on, Wakefield.
okay.
So they're
Donated,
buying the Boy Scout camp. It's a done deal.
Oh, that's
Okay.
awesome.
It is, it's incredible. So I guess they're gonna own the dam.
Somebody else told me they heard about
Because
that
that
too. and I was
borders-
wondering what it was.
that borders the land that I just donated
Yeah,
to the
Right.
Oh, that's great.
Land Trust in Rhode
So
Island.
it's a double win for that.
So is that, you got any more information on that?
Well, the board of directors of the Wyndham Land Trust is meeting tomorrow night at Tyrone Farm. If you want to go and get the scoop, no, it's too late to get a ticket. Now, I wanted to go, but because I'm having this meeting tonight, I couldn't go to that meeting. They want me to join the board of directors, and sometime I might, but really not right away. I'm friends with the person who's on the board, and, they've confirmed that it is happening.
Well, I
So-
think it's great. I'm
Yeah.
just wondering,
That is great.
Me too. Can you imagine that, having houses up in that? I mean, I was afraid that development of it was already a done deal. I'm just ecstatic about it.
That's great news, yeah.
so if I wanted to see a layout or a map of it, I would go to the Wyndham Land Trust? Oh, Oh.
Yeah. Yes, Andy Resnickevich is
yes,
one of the main players.
So I
in
should
that,
call
if you
him.
know Andy. And then I know Janet Booth, who lives up on Wolfden Road, even though she's next to the Booths that own Hometown Heating, they're not related in any way. Her father started Wyndham Land Trust,
Mm.
so. Yeah, I would talk to Andy.
okay,
You want a map?
thank you.
Welcome.
I guess, we've been having a bunch of brush fires down in East Thompson
Oh, it's bad weather for it.
in the last week. They all mysteriously seem to happen at night.
I didn't hear about this.
No, I
Including
haven't
house
heard
fires.
either. That's not good.
Including house fires.
Yeah,
Oh, no, you're kidding. A house fire?
that was a month ago.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was
Johnson's.
Johnson's.
Yeah.
But, yeah, last night. We, Valerie got woken up when her cell phone went off and somebody was saying, is this close to you? Are your horses safe? And she, what are we talking about? It was down the road, just past the track, but there was one just like 2 nights before that. down
They
that
warned
area.
us that this is the bad weather for brush fires, the wind.
Yeah, this is the wind and the dry, and there hasn't been any rain, but
Dry.
something still has to spark the fire.
Right.
But we haven't had any lightning storms, so. And it's curious that they're all in that same area. Just a
I'm
curious,
sure the fire marshal is keenly
Yeah.
aware of it.
and I think there were 4 towns that called out last night.
Oh, geez.
They usually all get called out.
Yeah.
From what I understand from talking to Jamie, our fire marshal, and when brush fires happen, especially when it's this dry, the fire will continue in the root system and erupt later
Yes.
on.
Somewhere else.
They'll
He
just
did-
sit
he
and
did look
smolder under the
tired
ground.
Today, but I didn't know he was out there last night.
that it?
All right, any other comments? We all talked out?
So the goal is to get the letter out on Thursday morning.
Yeah, I'll try to work on a draft tonight and send it tomorrow morning. I'll send it, I guess I'll send it to you, Margaret, because you've got everybody's emails. That might be the easiest way to do it. Then I don't have to look up emails and miss anybody or get somebody's email wrong. I think a couple of people, I have 2 or 3 different emails, so.
I think we sorted out which ones are which for us, for our members, as we call them.
All right, well, the next meeting is Monday, November 18th, 2024, 7 PM at the Thompson Town Hall. And it is 8:37, and we will adjourn the meeting. 8:37, I hope.